Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. You always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause of sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Nova Scotia. Police are looking for 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan.
Unfortunately, still a lot of questions left at this point, Andrew, as the search does continue for that missing brother and sister in Nova Scotia. We did, like you said, we did learn more last hour. Now that does include plans to scale back the search efforts.
What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep, and they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them, and they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens, and they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time, and the next thing we knew, it was quiet, and we get up and I tell him, my partner, Daniel. I tell him, do you hear the kids? And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call.
Flying in someone to do a polygraph test, is that on you?
That's not just on me, but on everyone. That's what I asked for. I asked for that so early on, and there's not many places that do it in Canada, so they're flying somebody in.
Why do you think you need to do that? Do you think they don't believe you?
I think their side of the family doesn't believe me, and I just want to clear it up for everyone. Clear it up for everyone, not just the people online making crazy accusations and everything else.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty channel. We're covering a case out of Nova Scotia. We begin with the developing story that has gripped Pictou County and beyond. The ongoing search for 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan and 4-year-old Jack, missing since Friday, May 2nd from their home in Lansdowne Station. As the community rallies and search efforts intensify, questions remain. Here's the latest. Lilly and Jack were last seen around 10 a.m. on May 2nd at their home on Gairloch Road. Their stepfather, Daniel Martell, told CBC News the children may have slipped out through a sliding back door while he and their mother, Malehya, were tending to their younger sibling. Let's hear more from Martell in this clip from May 5th.
We were searching. We covered everywhere possible. Even in the first day we did. Even with me running through the woods, I was ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones and stuff like that. Screaming as loud as I can, and just until my throat hurt. Running through water that was up to my waist. And as soon as I got back, I wasn't allowed back in the woods until a man dressed in a military outfit said I could go back into the woods. I hate being wet and cold, so they immediately would have came right back into the house. The only 2 prints are right beside the house facing the road, and then that's it.
The children were both undiagnosed autism, are not known to wander far, making their disappearance particularly concerning. Lilly may be wearing a pink sweater, pink pants, while carrying a white backpack with red strawberries. Jack was likely in a blue dinosaur boots and a pull-up diaper. The search for Lilly and Jack has entered its 7th day with over 160 volunteers, drones, helicopters, and K-9 units combing through rugged terrain of Pictou County. Amy Hansen, search manager with Colchester County Ground Search and Rescue, described the efforts.
Searches of more specific spaces that have already been searched by our teams. We're not packing up, and we're not giving up. Our investigation is broad, and it won't end until we know where Lilly and Jack are and can bring them home.
What we understand is the family reported to police early Friday morning, early in the day, around 10 a.m., that the 2 kids they believed had left the home through a sliding door, which they say is quite silent when it opens and closes. So that's how they believe the children may have left the home.
The mounted police have scaled back active searches but continue to investigate with the major crime unit involvement to rule out all possibilities. No Amber Alert was issued as police found no evidence of an abduction, though the family has raised concerns about that possibility. The mother of the children, Malehya, has left the area with family while Martell remains at Lansdowne Station, urging anyone with information to come forward. The mounted police is asking the public to avoid the search area to prevent contamination of evidence, but encourages sharing information responsibly on social media. Lilly and Jack School, Salt Springs Elementary, has deployed support staff to help students and family cope. If you have any information, contact Pictou County District Mounted Police at 902-485-4333 or Crime Stoppers anonymously. Our thoughts are with the Sullivan family in the Pictou County community as the search continues. We will keep updates as new details emerge. TGIF to all of my beautiful in the ether, good morning to you. Good morning to you. I hope you're all doing well. Many of you guys are already highly invested in this case of Lilly and Jack Sullivan from Nova Scotia, Canada. And we are on board with the cries of the public. Lily is 6 years old and Jack is 4. We have recently learned in these days, the past days, that law enforcement does not believe that these children are alive, does not believe these children are alive. And therefore, because there's no urgency to find these children alive, they have now scaled back the search. There are some major issues when it comes to this case that people are very concerned about. And one that I just learned about yesterday afternoon, after we were all wrapped up with our show yesterday morning. And what I learned is, if you guys recall from I don't know how many of you guys were here yesterday, but if you were here yesterday, what you heard me say was that I believe something happened either Tuesday evening or Wednesday at some point before the evening, because they didn't go to school on Thursday or Friday. Well, I'm learning through the grapevine. It still hasn't been corroborated for me. Maybe some people can help me do that. That there was a party at their house on Wednesday evening, Tuesday or Wednesday evening, maybe even Thursday evening, but there was a party at their house prior to these children disappearing. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because this could explain several different things. This could explain that maybe somebody did, in fact, abduct these children, and mom and stepdad were, partying and not paying attention. And the next day they wake up, oh crap, what do we do? There's also the if true, the other side of that, where maybe they were partying a little too hardy. Children got into stuff that they shouldn't have gotten into. One thing leads to another. They've got a big mess on their hands and don't want to be in trouble. There's a lot of theories that could go in to this particular case. And I know that already, this short time into the case, we don't know fact from fiction. So I think it's very important that here on the Bullhorn Betty channel, many of you guys know we theorize, we speculate, but we do that based upon the hard, cold facts. We just don't come here and say, oh, I think it's this way. Let's build facts on my thought, right? We don't do that. We take what we've learned from law enforcement and reliable sources, and we reasonably deduct what could have happened based on those facts. When new information change, so does the theories, because the theories are based on facts. So it is very, very important that all of us out there, if we're invested in this case, to have the hard, cold facts before us, so we understand what truly happened. So here's the confirmed facts as we know them so far. Lily and Jack were last seen around 10 a.m. And again, we're going to get it. We're going to be playing Plunder here in just a second, and we're going to understand a little bit about why this 10 a.m. is a little murky, because we're hearing the last time they heard them was 8 a.m. And, many people are scratching their head. Well, why did it take you 2 hours to call law enforcement? There's a lot of similarities and a lot of the same questions and complaints that we have in the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. But I digress. We're going to go with the 10 a.m. because that's the one that all the news media is picking up on. But again, I have to put the caveat that there is an 8 a.m. from our understanding that the parents may not have seen the children since that time. And that happened on May 2nd of this year from their home. And this is in Lansdowne Station off of Gairloch Road. And that's about, I don't know, it keeps pulling 30 kilometers, because in Canada, they do their distance much different than we do our distance here in the United States of America. And so they're saying approximately 30 kilometers, which in my estimation is about 100 miles, some give or take 90, something like that, miles, give or take, from New Glasgow, Nova Scotia. Their mother, Malehya Brooks-Murray, reported that she woke up to sounds of her children playing, but after briefly falling back asleep, discovered that they were missing and immediately called 911. I'm pretty sure we're going to find out that this 911 call was not, in fact, immediate. Much like the Sebastian Rogers case, the children were home from school that week due to Lily's cough. Again, many people question if one child had a cough, why were both children home? It leads us to more questions than answers, especially to determine what happened to him. Because if you're like me, and many of you guys think like we do, because like-minded people kind of, correlate together, and that's just the name of the game. But in this particular case, we have a situation where mom and stepdad say that they are asleep and the children are moving about the house. Um, they are saying that because of a cough, the kids couldn't go to school for Thursday or Friday. Now, remember, they went to school Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday was a day off, and Thursday and Friday, or maybe it was Tuesday. It was one of the days were a day off, so they weren't there. And I believe it was Wednesday. Wednesday was the day that they didn't have school. School wasn't going on that Wednesday, and then they were supposed to be there Thursday and Friday, and they were not. And when questioned about that, they said that Lily had a cough. Again, coming back to Jack did not. Why wasn't he in school? And that raises concerns for many of us, because those details for us in a situation like this, would we normally automatically assume because a child didn't go to school that something happened to him? Of course not. But in a situation like this, where hindsight's 2020, we now know that these children did not go to school since Tuesday. It leaves us with the question of, did something happen to them sooner than what the mom and the father or the stepfather say? So the search efforts, there were over 160 trained searchers, including RCMP, which is the mounted police, volunteer group search and rescue teams, police dogs, drones, helicopters. They have all been involved in this search, and still no sighting or no location of either of these children. Now remember, they also left with several items, including allegedly a backpack, which is a little odd. If they snuck out of the house, why would she be playing with a backpack? That's usually inside, or implying she's going to school. Again, just an oddity for somebody like me, but I digress. They're saying that they're in the woods with this backpack. The young boy, Jack, 4 years old, is still in a pull-up diaper. So there's nothing that's been found in this search. That's the point of me going through this, what all they had with them. Because when you have children that are out there in the woods and they get nervous, they don't think about picking up their backpack and taking it with them. So you find little reminiscences of them out there in the woods, and there's nothing. Which, when I hear that there's no scent, there's no this, there's no that, you know how I feel about that. I feel that is no evidence is evidence. It's evidence of a cleanup, in my opinion. But again, we're not going there just yet. We want to keep this as we work this case. We just know that there are some red flags here that is making us kind of side eye the mom and the stepfather in this case. But there's nothing that is major just yet. But we are building where this is not looking to swell. So the mounted police have stated that there's no evidence of foul play or abduction. But what I like about what they've said in their press conferences is that they treat it as this is a crime until determined otherwise. I love hearing statements like that from our law enforcement. That's the way law enforcement should be thinking. And when I hear that coming out of their mouth, that I love those types of statements. Those are, in my opinion, crucial statements to be making. So I like that. Even though they said there's no evidence of foul play, they're saying that they are treating this like a crime until it is determined otherwise. Love that statement. There is no Amber Alert issued in this case because they don't have any evidence of an abduction. And I want to remind people how incredibly difficult it is to be put on an Amber Alert. So this idea that people can just be put on an Amber Alert for, just because, it does not work that way. And that's important to understand because of the Sebastian Rogers case. The case remains open and active. This is a fresh new case. And what we're trying to do is bring awareness to Lilly and Jack's case. Again, this has been very, very emotional for some people. People have reached out to me. They've expressed that, their opinions and speculations, and we're going to get into all of that here in just a moment. I do want to take a few moments and just tell everybody thank you and good morning this wonderful morning. Let me move over this way because I got a new camera and I'm shifting and covering my face. And I know you guys just love to see my beautiful face. I just know you do. Let me get my other buttons up and running here. We got it. Betty's got her buttons to push. But until then, we'll thank everybody here. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Is it on my, there it is. See? Everybody loves Bullhorn Betty. Oh, thank you. Oh, golly. Thank you for the love. Gotta push those buttons, right? So I want to thank It's Me, Jen, and I think there's somebody else too. There is. Okay. I want to thank It's Me, Jen, Melanie, and Hobo's Life for the gift for gifting Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you received your gifted Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to tell Hobo's Life, Melanie, and It's Me, Jen, thank you so much. And It's Me, Jen is spoiling me. As you can see, I got a little new bracelet here, and it says, I got it backwards here. It says, don't let the hard days win. Don't let the hard days win. And in there, it has another little message in there for me. But I just want to give a big shout out to It's Me, Jen. Thank you. That was really, 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 really sweet. So I appreciate it. But if you received your Bullhorn Betty membership from It's Me, Jen, Melanie, or Hobo's Life, don't forget to tell them thank you. And for the 3 people that got their Bullhorn Betty membership, welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard. And a big shout out to Hobo's Life. Been a member of this channel for 4 months. God bless you. All of the support we get, we absolutely 100% appreciate. It says new beans to the family and my mini me graduates college. Nice to hear that, Hobo's Life. I love hearing that. And then we got Dee's Mystery Obsessed. Thank you, being a member for 11 months. Thank you for the love and the support. And it says prayers for Lilly and Jack. Oh my goodness. #justice. Thank you. And Hobo's Life, thank you so much. It says we have new little beans to the family, born 7 weeks early. Please keep him in your prayers. That's why I haven't been in. Also, my daughter graduates college today. Woot, woot. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. I know every now and again I flop. Well, congratulations, Hobo's Life. We'll absolutely keep the new bundle of joy 7 weeks early in our prayers. We absolutely love babies. We want babies. So thank you for letting us know that as well. She'll be strutting around soon with the new granny. Right? With the new granny. That's what I call grandbabies. The new grannies. All right, guys. So Lilly and Jack, again, have been missing since May 2nd, and we've just got the facts. There's a lot here, but there's a lot that's not being said publicly, okay? And that's where where the issue for me lies. Oh, thank you, Michelle Frost, for being the newest member of this crazy crew we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket and your padded room. Welcome aboard. Thank you for the love and the support. God bless you. God bless you. I appreciate that. Oh, and Lisa B, always 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership from Lisa B, always, don't forget to tell her thank you, honey bunny. I appreciate it. And for those 5 lucky people, welcome to this crazy crew we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket and your padded room and welcome aboard. Can't forget the crickets. Can't forget the crickets. But we hear, what do we hear from all these horrible parents? Oh, did the mom run away from this search area too? Ah, interesting. Do we find it interesting that all these bad parents are evasive, inconsistent, and leave? Gotcha. That's what I thought. I'm just checking. I'm checking the old buttons, seeing if they have any new information to give me about these cases. And what we're finding out is we've just got some horrible parents out there. Now, do we know if these parents are horrible? No, we don't. But the whole pointing of the fingers and the running away, and it's like, you know what? I'm sorry. Everybody's putting around this thing that the mom, Malehya, whatever her name is. I've got to find her name again. They sit there and say that she, the reason why she's not there is because the mom of Daniel. Oh, thank you. Chaos is up in the house, says these step parents need the, you got that right. You got that right. They do. Our children should be protected. Any parent that's choosing a man or a spouse or a significant other over your children, you are a failure as a parent. And I'm not saying that to be offensive. I'm saying that for you to wake up. For you to wake up, these babies, you know? These babies. All right, so now let's kind of get into a little bit of the theories and speculation. You know, family members have raised concerns about the possibility of abduction and have urged authorities to expand the search beyond the immediate area to include the provincial borders and transportation hubs. The children's stepfather, Daniel, noted that certain items found during the search, such as clothing, water bottle, did not belong to either of the either child, raising questions about their origin. And you know how I feel about step parents being the one that says, oh yes, oh no. You know, the mom was the stay-at-home mom. This mom would have been the one, in my opinion, that would have the best knowledge on what is the children's and what is not the children's, and why is there water bottles and children's belongings doing out in areas that there's not a whole lot of children where belongings should be. The family dynamic. Tensions have escalated between family members following the disappearance. Some relatives from the children's mother's side accused the stepfather, Daniel, of being involved. Martell stated that after the children vanished, their mother left to stay with family elsewhere in the Providence and has since blocked him on social media. I've heard that she's moved yet again. Again, that's just rumors, and that's very concerning for me. Daniel has been deeply involved in the search effort and has undergone extensive police questioning. And here's the issue I think I have right now with this whole back and forth between the mom and the stepfather, which I got to put this caveat in case you're here for the first time and you're learning about this case the first time. This is not their true step parent. Daniel and Malehya, why can't I remember her stinking name? I don't know why. Give me a sec. Yeah, it's Malehya. I think it's Malehya. Malehya. Maybe it's Malehya. Maybe it's Malehya. Their mother, Malehya, they're back and forth. What's so concerning for somebody like me is we have a situation where a mom and a step parent, allegedly, and again, Daniel is not really the step parent. I mean, he is in a sense because the mom had been and him have been together for 3 years, so it is a step parent figure, but they weren't officially married. So I want to make sure that that caveat's on there, so you guys know I'm just speaking because it's easier to call him a step parent because the kids viewed him as a step parent. Now remember, Jack is only 4 years old, so this man has been in Jack's life ever since he was a baby, ever since he could remember. So to Jack, this is his dad, and Lily, at the time that he came into Lily's life, she would have been a toddler, 3 years old, and again a parental figure, so she would have looked at him as a father figure as they're aging. So in a sense, he is a step parent. I want to just let people know that I do know that they're not lawfully married, that technically he's not a step parent, but all of the news organizations are pointing him as a stepfather, a stepdad. So we're going to also be using that terminology when referring to Daniel, which is the stepfather. Okay. So I just wanted to express that before we got too far down or people wanted to go and try to correct me. I do understand. So they're having this battle back and forth and they're pointing the finger at each other. So it does kind of tell me that this might be, in reality, another situation like Leilani Simon, because they're not sticking together. They're splitting apart, they're fractured, they're pointing the fingers at one another, which to me implies that one of two things: that one doesn't know what the other one has done, or it could be that the heat is on and they're both involved and they know neither one of them will really talk. I don't know which it is, but I'm feeling it's some type of way because I have two, I have several theories, but two that dominate and two wildly different. For example, I've got one where the stepfather, Daniel, kind of blows up and while the mom is sleeping, because the mom's exhausted, either because she was partying too much or she was up with the baby or whatever the case may be. That's one theory, and that could be alternated with the mom and vice versa, where Daniel was sleeping and she was up. So we're both, that's really, even though it's like two separate theories, it is really kind of one theory, just different parent being involved. And then you've got the other side of that, where if this a house party is to be true and is real, which again I haven't corroborated or confirmed it, so I can't say that it's fact. We don't know. There's enough chatter online that it makes me feel like it's possible. And so if we have this house party and it happened either Tuesday night or Wednesday night, well then that explains why the children didn't go to school Thursday or Friday. Something most likely happened at that house party that nobody is speaking about, or after the house party had ended that nobody's speaking about. And both parents are scared out of their mind about what's going to happen, trying to blame one another for this tragic event. The one thing I'm not really entertaining at this point in time is that they truly, in fact, wandered off from the home. And it's because we have a similar situation that we have in the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. Now, details may come forward that may change my assessment on that. So we might have, something else that comes up that's a piece that we didn't have before that may say, okay, well, maybe they really did go out the sliding glass door. But right now we don't have that information, and the reason why we don't have the information is because we heard that they went out the sliding glass door. The sliding glass door does not appear to be that of a very silent door. It doesn't look like it's well maintained, which is what makes it glide easy and sound free, right? Instead of, you know. So it doesn't look like it's been well maintained for it to be silent. And then the last reason why I don't believe that these children left on their own accord is because the entire backyard where that sliding glass door opens up to is 100% fenced in. The whole backyard is fenced in. So I don't believe that a 6 and a 4-year old climbed over the fence to leave. There's just something with the story there that I'm not really postpartum. Yes, Patty Lee, I brought that up yesterday because I thought it was awfully funny with her statements, because that interview that I posted in the intro, that was 2 days after her not seeing her child. And I would think with a 16-month-old child in the house, the postpartum depression, the scariness of not seeing children for 2 days, I just expected a lot more emotion from the mother, uncontrollable emotion, specifically because of the what I would perceive maybe postpartum depression. And we didn't see that. So is she suffering from postpartum depression? Is that going to be used later down the road? I don't personally know. But it is a possibility. And I raised that yesterday on this show as well. So I have a problem with any mother leaving a search scene in the middle of searches. Okay. That is a major, major, major red flag. I don't care um, what type of fight you have with anybody, even if you have to take a tent and set up a tent in the front yard to stay away from, XYZ people. I just don't see a mother leaving, if she had to leave, I would see her staying at a friend's house down the road, or, within a half a mile, if they can't, the like her and Daniel are at each other's throats so bad. But for a mother to leave the home and go so far away, that always has been very concerning for me. And that's why I believe that no matter how much they're pointing at each other, I feel like they both know what happened to these two kids and worked in concert with one another. For whatever reason, even though they are pointing the finger at each other, and even though they are distant, and Daniel's trying to act like he's involved with the searches and stuff like that, some of his behaviors and statements just feel like, to me, that there's just something he's holding back, and I don't know what it is. It could be that he doesn't that he doesn't want to know that he was utilizing substances. People that are worried about certain things, they still show worriedness, but it's misplaced, if you will, right? I had an experience like that with Stephanie Shenefield. She was a bartender here in my area. Her roommate, he was a drug addict, and you could see that he felt like people were looking at him as the person doing it. Heck, we were looking at him as a possibility of a person that could have done, disappeared Stephanie Shenefield. So, I understand that. And I remember when he was there, he was trying to control we were just seeing major red flags with his behavior, trying to control what her friends said to the media, not just social media, but to mainstream media. He was interjecting. He was trying to stop some of the interviews that they were having with other mainstream local news. And then when things were starting to get more and more news was showing up, he got on his bike to leave the area and almost drove his bike into a retaining pond. And so we're all looking at him like, this is really sus. This is red. Like I call Rick, my sheriff, and said, look, this guy almost ran his bike into the thing. He's been controlling conversations. He's been doing this. He's showing red flags. But it wasn't him. And what it was is it was him feeling guilty about the situation at hand. And I think that was, exuding out of him and making him more and more nervous as more and more people, because he's missing a tooth. He's clearly on drugs, and he lives with the missing person. So a lot of the things that he was nervous about was driving him. But he wasn't the one responsible. So I always try to educate my audience that there are other things that could be going on that could appear to be red flags about one thing, but it has nothing and absolutely nothing to do with it. And so, one of the things we try to do is find the truth. So we know, are these nervous tics because of this or nervous tics because of this, right? And it's a balance, and you've got to go in there with precision and a scalpel and try to find out which it is. And so this one I haven't determined with the stepfather, but with everything going on and the way this case is kind of developing and the way it's starting to unfold, to me it feels like we've got something happened to these children. Now, with them it happening both at the same time, it's it's hard. It's hard to try to navigate this and make heads or tails, because it could be so many different things depending on the factors of the case. For example, if they did have a party, are we sure nobody walked off out of the party with these children? That would explain why they disappeared at the same time. Did somebody know these children were in the house and know the parents were hungover and just kind of creeped around the community until the children went out to play, and because they recognized them from the night or two before at the party, they were able to go up and talk to them and just say, hey, come with me, let me go take you here or take you there, and they just willingly went. There are possibilities of that. But with the mom and the stepfather pointing fingers at each other, not talking, blocking each other on social media, and in addition to acting peculiar, having inconsistent statements, there not being really a third party, the children not being at school the last 2 days of school for the week, there's a lot of things here that make us believe that the children, something happened to the children many days before, or a few days before they were reported missing. And then that right there would mean both of the parents would have had to be involved in something related to the disappearance of these children. And that's what's giving me that strong opinion that they're both involved as opposed to one or the other, because I, based upon them not going to school, truly believe that it wasn't a minor little cough that kept these two kids out of school. It was something a little more. And I have to believe, based on my gut instincts, that means that something happened to these children before they were reported missing. And something had to have happened to the children to prevent them from going and attending school on Thursday and then on Friday. So that leads me back to, when were they last seen by a third party? And that was Tuesday. Now that's if they didn't have this house party. Now, if they had this house party and we find out nobody saw the children at that house party, now we have something a little bit more. Now we're getting into, in my opinion, the territory of what's her name, Casey Anthony. Now we're getting into the territory of Casey Anthony-esque type of scenario here. So if they had the house party, there should be several third parties that can identify the health of these children at that party. If there was no party, then obviously that stranger danger or somebody snatching him at the party would not exist. So I think one of the things we need to focus on for the audience and people that are following this case, was there a house party? And if so, send me corroborating information to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. We need to see if there was any other people that could have been around this child. I don't want to naturally come out and just point my finger at parents. However, we're a week into this case, and there are a lot of problems that we already see. Predominantly that the stepfather and the mother are down each other's throat. She left the area. She may have even left her families and went to a different area in the middle of searching for their children after finding out they're most likely not alive. These, to me, are red flags. Mamas don't just take people's words for it. They want their babies. They want to see their babies. If they're not here, they want to see that they're not here, anymore. They want to see them. They're not just going to believe. They're going to keep believing. They're going to keep believing until they know. They don't misunderstand. I believe in their gut. They know, but they still fight until they know for sure. And this is a mom that once again has left the home. And why do I say once again is because this is off the heels of Sebastian Rogers' case, where we know the mom and stepdad fled. Now, with the stepfather being so involved in wanting the polygraph and which I hope he does get a polygraph. So if I'm wrong, we can move past him. Not that a polygraph will ever make me move past anybody, because we'd have to believe that the polygraph is admissible and not defective. And in many cases, it works well. But there are those outliers where it has false positives and false negatives, and therefore is not admissible in a court of law because of those factors. But it's a great guide for law enforcement and for the rest of us. So we know that there is this back and forth between the mom and the stepfather, and because of that, we have to understand why. Why would the mom be pointing the finger at the guy? The guy's not really, I don't know if the guy's really pointing the finger at the mom, if Daniel's pointing the finger at the mom, but he is making it well known that she is not part of the search efforts, which many of us have just start dinging. Ding, 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 red flag, red flag, red flag, right? And so that's where we're at with this. There's something not right here. We're feeling it in our gut, but what could it be? So we're trying to make sure we go down the right avenues to dispel any possibility of it being anybody else. But I can tell you right now, I am side-eyeing both the mom and the stepfather in this case as well, because of the reasons I've stated so far. Now, the community response has been quite extensive. Lots of searchers have come out to help. Chief Michelle Glasgow publicly questioned the decision not to issue an Amber Alert, and calls for establishing a national alert system tailored to better respond to such emergencies like this, where people need to get information out. I don't know why they changed all the alerts. Like I said, it's when it started happening, I think a year or two ago, when they started really defining these alerts, it really irritated me. I think I expressed that very much publicly. And of course, the community has been rallying support in finding these children. This has ultra affected that community, but we need to have a good understanding on who was in and around these children, because we know the statistics are very, very high. Okay. And we know the statistics are even higher of caregiver harm to children that are on the spectrum. So again, they are undiagnosed as being autistic, but they believe both of these children were in fact autistic. So we're going to go over here to Plunder. Plunder has the 911 call. I want you guys to hear it. I think it's important. We may have to get some commentary from Plunder, but I think I got it where it may need to be. We'll find out. We'll find out, and then we'll go back over all of the support we've got this morning. Thank you for everybody that has been supporting this channel. As many of you know, all the support and proceeds we get from these shows that I do daily are going to my criminal defense and other legal issues that I've got related to the case of Sebastian Rogers.
Possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds.
Realize my mic was off, but I that statement always just it cuts me like a knife, because it sounds like Chris Watts, it sounds like Katie Proudfoot, it sounds like so many people in the way that they describe it. She has no tears running down her face, even though this is like 48 hours after her children haven't been home. She should be a hysterical mom, and she's not. She, to me, seems terrified more than scared.
And I don't want to go through that another night without them.
So unfortunately, this case is reminding some people of a Jennifer Soto, Stephen Stearns type of situation. It's happening in a place called Lansdowne in Nova Scotia. You can hear from the dispatch. I tried to just pick out the most interesting parts related to the case, when they learned the children were missing, how the search began, what conflicting reports are coming out. Over dispatch, you hear someone saying she has no phone reception, but she does have a photo of the two kids. I don't know if they're speaking about the mother at this point.
Okay. I think she must have played it at the beginning.
She has no phone reception, but she does have photo of the two kids. The 6-year-old is the girl, I believe, and she's wearing pink. The 4-year-old is wearing some blue dinosaur boots. So, yeah, I think that's all we kind of have right now. The drone operator is still on scene with the mom, so.
Just make sure mom stays close to the house there in case they happen to sneak out and get back into the house.
So we've got this troubling case out of Nova Scotia, and I was up all hours of the night doing research and just trying to dig through today all this dispatch audio, hours and hours and hours worth of dispatch audio out of Canada. It's regarding the two missing children, Lilly and Jack Sullivan. I've heard some pretty interesting things over the dispatch from Friday, May 2nd. That's the day that the children were reported missing. So I wanted to dig and dig and dig and see what I could find. So far, the most interesting thing is that one of the authorities is telling another, the dispatcher is saying, make sure the mom stays close to the house.
Just make sure mom stays close to the house there in case they happen to sneak out and get back into the house.
Make sure the mom stays close to the house. And that's exactly what did not happen. And I'm wondering why. So Lilly and Jack Sullivan.
So they're saying on those first days, mom disappeared as well. Now, again, there's a lot of stuff that this is a very fluid situation for me in the Bullhorn Betty channel. So if you guys have any information to corroborate this or to find out what statements were made, please send those to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com.
And were last seen on Friday, May 2nd, 2025. So it's been 6 days. Today is Wednesday, May 7th. And that's kind of scary to think about. Young children being missing this long. So now they're trying to put the pieces together on Friday morning. I've heard so many conflicting reports. As you'll hear, or you might have just heard, one dispatcher is saying they were last seen at 8 a.m.
In the bedroom 8 o'clock this morning, and they haven't been seen since then. I need to get a good statement and figure stuff out. Call from McGinnis, can you copy there? I think your portable's spotty. Was that you I heard on here that was going to do a search of the residence again?
Audio.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. They were going to do the property and the residence again.
Copy that.
Property and the residence again. Copy. And just for everyone's awareness, based on the profile, the children could have traveled at least 6 kilometers. So keep that in mind.
Sergeant Young, for your awareness there, media release has been put out and a non-intrusive alert has been sent out to Victor County.
Perfect, thank you.
At 8 o'clock a.m. that morning, I've heard that reported twice throughout this dispatch.
So, again, this comes back to my other claim that I have made where I truly believe that we're going to find out that this 911 call that the mom says that they immediately didn't immediately happen. Because if they were last seen at 8 a.m., why did it take them until almost 10 to make the call? Again, if you have any information about this, send this to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I'm very curious about this information.
Friday, May 2nd, but then trying to piece together other reports claim the children were last seen at 10 a.m. I don't know where the confusion is coming in, but this happened at the home of these two people you're about to meet. You're going to see their interviews, the mom and the stepdad, who really isn't a stepdad. The mom calls him her partner.
Just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. As possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up. I heard them playing in the next room beside us. And I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them.
Again, want to remind you, drifting in and out of sleep, it sounds a lot like Katie Proudfoot's story about what happened from 9 to midnight.
Not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids? And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone.
I think that was intentional. They'll talk to anyone. I think that they're really trying hard to strongly nudge this abduction theory, and it legitimately it could be a good possibility if they did have that party at their house. I do believe it's scripted. She's too calm. She is entirely too calm. I can't wait to hear the actual 911 call or the call to law enforcement reporting these children missing. I'd like to hear the voice on the phone and see how that sounds.
Talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids. I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now, but we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued.
And again, it comes back to the thought for me is they're pushing really hard for this abduction theory. And if I was a parent and people weren't listening to me and I truly believe my child was abducted, I'd be pushing a heck of a lot harder than these subtle nudges. You know, that's the problem. We have these subtle nudges of abduction. And if she truly believed it, she would be screaming from the rooftops, in my opinion. A mom missing her children, she'd be saying things like, law enforcement won't listen to me. Our children have been abducted. Our children have been abducted. We need to get this out. We would expect that. That's all I'm saying. We would be expecting that kind of behavior from a parent versus what we're seeing here. Just my opinion.
Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing.
And that's the problem, is people don't want alerts just to know people are missing. That's why they have the local ones. But the way she says, which they still could be, that the sound of her voice and how she says that specific statement makes me believe she doesn't even believe it. So I want you guys to hear that again.
Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been.
It's that right there. That right there, in my opinion, makes me feel like she doesn't even believe it.
But just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware, someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain.
That we found tracks. So they're really, really pushing this narrative, and she's not, for her pushing in a narrative that her child was abducted, you would expect her to be a little more urgent, a little more, her behavior is not, in my opinion, her behavior is not what's coming out of her mouth. She's implying an abduction, but her behavior is not implying an abduction.
It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home.
Pain and sorrow. I don't like this.
Everyone loves them. They are definitely verbal, and they do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful, but there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds, and I don't want.
I think she fled because she's scared. I don't know of any, I don't know of any reason other than fear a person would leave and get as far away from the search area as possible, which is what we exhibited. Leilani even took off, if you guys remember. She went up to a hotel room. Chris and Katie went to Mississippi, a completely different state. They also went to South Carolina for a motorcycle rally. Again, a completely different state. So we see this behavior where the parents, the West, if you guys remember, they were in their camper, their RV, when they were finally pulled over and apprehended. They also left. So we have all of these parents that we can kind of point to, all of these different cases we can kind of point to where the people left and were ultimately apprehended and charged with crimes. So why is this mom leaving the search area where her two young children disappeared from?
I want to go through that another night without them.
So unfortunately, this case is reminding some people of a Jennifer Soto, Stephen Stearns type of situation. It's happening in a place called Lansdowne in Nova Scotia. You can hear from the dispatch. Third, I even went through a lot of dispatch trying to figure out what happened with this incident. Thus far, on Saturday, I haven't found anything about what the argument was, what the fight was, whatever happened between this couple that caused the woman to skedaddle, to leave her home while her young children are still missing. Daniel's even going to talk about getting interviewed by police. He's going to talk about Malehya blocking him on social media. And so people are like, what is happening during this missing children's case? You would expect the mom and stepdad or her partner to just draw closer together, not farther apart. Some people were wondering, are the police going to announce the arrest of these two? But they didn't. It was a sad, sad presser. But during this search, there have been a lot of different rumors. You know, everyone turns into a sleuth. Of course, everyone wants to help. There was some rumor about, some foreign men were seen, 2 men, and I guess that's been debunked. And now, even in the dispatch audio, the dispatcher explains a 911 call she received. Someone saw a suspicious vehicle, but it turned out to be nothing suspicious after all.
Okay, so for, otherwise, what are the details? Have they been gone a long time?
0800. The address, the last point known.
Member is here on Garlock Road. We just had a 911 call. Can I go ahead with the details?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you got a call via 911 from a Karen Ponacao. Kindly about 5 minutes. She was reporting just driving past a black Honda CRV, Nova Scotia marker Golf Mike Fox 320 that left the outdoor recreational park close to the residence. It is permanently closed. Malehya is unsure if related, but it felt a bit strange to her. Driver was a white male around 50 years old, bald with a mustache. And it left from 1480 Fairlock Road. I can send that down to your MWS if it's easier.
So people have their eyes peeled and, they're looking at everyone with suspicion, especially because the parents are inferring potentially that the children were abducted.
We were searching. We covered everywhere possible. Even in the first day we did. Even with me running through the woods, I was ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones and stuff like that. Screaming as loud as I can. Until my throat hurt. Running through water that was up to my waist.
Running through water up to my waist. That is something that just kind of, I don't know, kind of like the scratches on Chris's arms, right? It's just something that is noticeable that doesn't make sense. And for me, I feel like that's a clue. That him having water up to his chest might be a clue to where the kids might be, potentially. Okay, I'm not saying that it is, but when I hear things that sound out of place, I take note to them. Why was it so important that he said that? And this is water up to his chest. Who goes through water up to their chest when they don't know if there's, water moccasins or things like that in the water, especially when there's no evidence that somebody could be in that water. So I'm looking at that. I've heard that a couple times, and every time it's sounding like bells going off in my head. So I have to think that, to me, it means something. I don't know what it means to you. He said waste. Okay, thank you. Outer limits. Or Outer Banks, outer limits. I'm okay. Don't mind me today. It's Friday.
And as soon as I got back, I wasn't allowed back in the woods until a man dressed in a military outfit said I could go back into the woods. I hate being wet and cold. So they immediately would have came right back into the house. The only two prints are right beside the house facing the road, and then that's it. Post any officers they can get at the New Brunswick border. PI border.
He's trying too hard to cry. At the wrong times. And so that's leading me to believe that he knows more. And again, these are all just my opinions and my observations. You may observe it differently. You may have a different opinion than I. All opinions are welcome. Just keep it clean and don't be disrespectful in the chat. There's no water moccasins up there. Those are northern things. Okay, thank you, Flowery. But there's got to be some type of poisonous snake that people should be worried about. I mean, so that's my point, is that nobody's jumping into a bunch of water without, thinking. And if it's cold out, hyperthermia and stuff like that, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to, in order to get me in the water when I'm searching for somebody or something, there has to be some evidence there. But, again, it could just be a frantic thing. I don't know.
And get them at every airport possible. Anybody who has any information, or you think you've seen something or hear something, or any messages from friends about hearing something, just contact your local police services. Anything, guys. Anything.
At first, they were wandering the woods. That's the thought process. But now that it's been so long, I guess it's entering the minds of Malehya and Daniel. Oh, yes, they really could have been abducted. But it turns out that suspicious vehicle was nothing. So I don't know what's up with this 8 o'clock this morning. The kids were seen in their bedroom, and they haven't been seen since. And my question is, how did Malehya know, the kids sneaked out?
And I think that's the problem that is being brought up by the deception detective and stuff like that. If they're in their room sleeping, how do they know? Just similar to, again, Sebastian Rogers. How did they know that he went out the front door? Too cold for snakes yet. Okay, well, maybe you guys are a little different. I'm from Florida. So we can't just go jump in waters, okay? We got things like gators and poisonous snakes and stuff like that. You gotta dip your toe in, and if nothing grabs you and drags you under, you're good. But I digress. I've just never heard people going into water searching for somebody in water without any evidence leading them to believe that something's in the water. So bears are waking up. Gotcha. She said she couldn't hear the door open. How does she know they opened the door? Exactly. And again, that's why I keep bouncing with this case, with the Sebastian Rogers case, is because there are so many similarities here in these two cases. So it's kind of hard not to compare them, apples and apples or apples to oranges, depending on what side of the fence you land when it comes to this case. But I'm personally seeing a lot of similarities here. I mean, there are some differences. This has two children. They're of younger age. There's alleged of a house party, but in all fairness, we had rumors of a poker game in the Sebastian Rogers case. So, there is that as well. So I don't know. I just know that something is not sitting right with me. The mom leaving the area while her two babies are out there somewhere, it just doesn't sit right with me. The behaviors of the mom as well as the stepfather aren't sitting right with me. The statements made from them in their interviews, their statements aren't sitting right with me. There's just a lot that's not sitting right with me in this case when it comes to Lilly and Jack Sullivan. But at the end of the day, the mom and stepfather really do still have some explaining to do. They need to be coming out if they had nothing to do with this, which, again, we don't know whether they did or did not. I'm just saying it's highly unlikely two kids, 4 and 6, climbed a fence, out and got lost in the woods. I mean, if they had a tendency of climbing fences and going out and exploring, things like this would have happened long before this date, is what I'm trying to say. Much like what I said in the Leilani Simon with baby Quentin Simon, baby Q. And people were trying to allege that child may have drowned either in the pool or in the bathtub, and the mom got scared. And I said no, because we had learned that she was very abusive to this one child. And I was sitting up there saying, no, this is not the way it is. This is not the way it is, because people really do want things to sound like the mom and dad just weren't paying attention, and the child got away and out of their care because they were blitzed out of their mind, or whatever the case may be. But my point is always the same. Then why didn't it happen a lot sooner than this? Why is this the only event that happened in this time? Because Quentin was 20 months old at the time, so wasn't quite 2 years old when he lost his life at the hands of his mother. But he had been independent many times. He had already ran away from home many times. So he's already been out of the sight of the mother many times, yet did not fall in the pool and did not lose his life the many times that he's had the opportunity. So again, that's where my brain goes. These children have lived in that area. So if they had a propensity of running away or getting lost, this wouldn't be the first time. So we have a lot of questions here. We still have a lot of research to do. We still have a lot of information to compile when it comes to this case to lead us down the right roads that we need to lead down. As you guys can see, Plunder up there, Plunder True Crime. If you'd never heard of Plunder, she's very, very good at what she does. Get over to her channel. You can see this dispatch audio here, this dispatch audio. Get all the information from Plunder's channel, but I did want you guys to hear those segments of this. I probably will be back and go to different segments of this because, again, Plunder does a very great and thorough job when she breaks down these cases, and I love the way she does it. So we'll be plugging away probably a couple little more segments and clips out of this in the stories ahead. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate your time. Thank you for the love and the support. tonight we are going to be coming up. I'm going to be setting up the, we'll be going over, I want to tell everybody here, I see that Nicey Marie as well as Jen and Georgia both gifted Bullhorn Betty membership. Just give me a moment. I did miss you guys, but if you just stick around just a little bit longer, I will be thanking you guys personally for that. Thank you. But in this particular case, we have a lot more stuff to go over. This case is a fluid situation right now. The sad part is law enforcement, and I have to trust their opinion. They're the ones that are on the ground. They do not believe, and I can tell you, these types of statements from law enforcement don't come lightly. So to hear them say that they do not believe these children are alive, then they truly do not believe these children are alive. Now, we do know that they've been back and forth inside that home multiple times. That statement, in all fairness, could come from something that they saw inside the house versus the elements, even though they are saying because of the elements, this is the way they feel. But there could be something else, and I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. I'm very cognizant in law enforcement and how they explain cases and the words that they use, and you have to really read and reread these things until you get a good grasp on how law enforcement provides press releases and statements out there. They're never willy-nilly. They go through a lot of different hands before they go to the public to make sure that what they're saying is factual, but not providing anything that'll go to the integrity of the investigation. So their words matter. If they're saying one thing, are they implying it or are they stating it as fact? You have to be cognizant of that when you're reading these pressers from law enforcement, because they are so specific in them. And when they say that there's, no evidence, they're saying there's neither or, right? In this case, they're saying they believe these children are deceased, and there's a reason they believe these children are deceased. They're not just willy-nilly saying that. They're not giving themselves an excuse to scale back a search. They truly believe that this child is these children are deceased. And you have to kind of correlate that when they decided to scale back, because it's very important. We have to watch the behaviors of law enforcement. Why do I always tell you guys that? If you haven't watched me for a very long time, one thing I tell you guys over and over and over again is the reason why we are so successful on this channel and have such a great batting average is because when nothing is being said, we monitor law enforcement's behaviors. Law enforcement behaviors dictates a lot to us. It dictates where we are in the case. It tells us, is this a criminal investigation, a missing person, or a runaway, just by their behaviors. And that is true. How they're talking about a case does define how that case is being handled and does tell you a lot. In this case, they're telling us that these children, after they told us that these children are deceased, they said they're scaling back the search efforts. This is important because when we have this happen in other cases, we have to understand what they're saying when they're not saying anything at all. And I think it's very important that we take note, because there was also another search that was cut short after 7 days of searching, maybe 8 days searching at best. So we have to take these all into considerations. Some law enforcement agencies give you a little more, while others do not. So reading between the lines and understanding the processes and following the behaviors of law enforcement really help propel why we say some of the things we say. So Lilly and Jack Sullivan still missing. This is the 7th full day, and no sight, no angle, no lead that is helping them identify where these two children are. Now, in my personal assessment of this, I looked at a lot of different things. I looked at the area. I looked at where it was. And because I do also believe they are deceased. However, I do believe there is foul play associated with this case. And when I go back to the maps and where they could potentially be, it broadens that map quite a bit, because I think that those children are within 25 miles of that home. Most of the time they're within 5 miles of the home, but seeing how desolate the area is, it's expanding that radius quite a bit. So if people are out there searching, ground zero and out, but I don't think they penetrated 25 miles around that home yet. And I do believe that those children are somewhere within 25 miles of that home. Just off initial assessments and statistical statements and stuff like that when it comes to the search efforts of these children. So we'll be back to cover more of this case. If you guys have any information or breaking information, please send it to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Anything related to this case that is breaking, please be sure to put breaking in the subject line for me so I can easily identify it. I want to thank It's Me Jen for the gifted Bullhorn Betty membership, Melanie for the Bullhorn Betty membership, Hobo's Life as well for the Bullhorn Betty membership. We got 5 from Outer Banks, 5 from Lisa B. Always. I think I missed you, Outer Banks. I apologize about that. 1 from Nisi Marie and 1 for Jen in Georgia. If you received your gifted Bullhorn Betty membership from Jen in Georgia, Nisi Marie, Lisa B. Always, Outer Banks, Hobo's Life, Melanie, or It's Me Jen, please don't forget to tell them thank you for those that received your Bullhorn Betty membership. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard. And I want to give a big shout out to Hobo's Life, member for 4 months, telling us that she's got a new bean and her mini-me is graduating college. God bless you and congratulations. The Mystery Obsessed says, Lilly and Jack, oh my goodness, hashtag justice. Prayers for Lilly and Jack, hashtag justice. 11-month member, thank you for the love and support. Hobo's Life further reiterates, we have a new little bean to the family, born 7 weeks early. Please keep him in your prayers. That's why I haven't been in. Also, my daughter graduates college today. Woot, woot, woot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have a new member in addition to all the gifted Bullhorn Betty memberships. Michelle, thank you for becoming the newest member of the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Chaos Bunny reminds us, thank you for being a 5-month member, that these step parents need their butts whipped. So thank you all that have contributed and provided their opinions and stuff like that. If you have anything that you want to tell me, again, please reach out to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. If you have any information, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Theories, speculation, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you later this evening. We will be having a call-in show at 8 p.m. tonight. A call-in show at 8 p.m. tonight. Be there or be square. God bless. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, Thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.